appreciative of it. All right. This morning, yesterday I started and I kind of ended with talking about saddling your dreams before you ride them. Saddling your dreams before you ride them. I believe through my years of leadership and do other things that I've done in other spheres, whether it was projects or any of those magnitudes, I have always attempted to unleash powers of strong thinking. In this case, I would say strategic thinking, really to be able to accomplish a lot of the things that I have done in life. When I went back over it this morning, I thought about a couple of things that I would share with you in the few moments that we have that is allotted and afforded to me. The first thing that I would say to you is that strategic thinking prompts customization and precision. It prompts customization and precision. It helps you to match your strategy with the problem, because strategy isn't a one-size-fit-all proposition. Okay. Sloppy or generalized thinking is really the enemy of achievement. You might want to write that down. Sloppy or generalized thinking is the enemy of achievement. Let me give it to you one more time. Sloppy or generalized thinking is an enemy of achievement. Okay. Strategic thinking prepares you today for an uncertain tomorrow. I want y'all to write that down. Strategic thinking prepares you today for an uncertain tomorrow. One of the things that my leader teaches me on a regular basis is that really that statement is really the bridge that links you from where you are to where you want to be. Okay? I want to say to you that's listening to me, that statement that I just gave you, strategic thinking prepares you today for an uncertain tomorrow. Hear me. It really gives you direction. It gives you credibility today. And it actually increases your potential for success on tomorrow. When I think of how I think a lot of times, my thinking thoughts, my thinking patterns always reduces my margins of error. So it really lines up my actions with my objectives as well as the benefits for betterment, because the better the odds that you are going to be going in the right direction if you do it the correct way. That's why you have to think things through. Yesterday, in teaching our fivefold ministry class and in sharing with them, I said this to them. I said, you have to make sure that you understand the direction in which way you are going. And you have to make sure that you know that you're going in the right direction. All right. So, number one, if you're staying with me, number one, strategic thinking prompts customization and precision. Number two, strategic thinking prepares you for an uncertain tomorrow. Number three, I said strategic thinking reduces your margin of error. But then write this down. Strategic thinking gives you actually the influence with other people. You hear me say all the time, for what I've been taught, what has been indoctrinated in my spirit, and something that I believe to be true. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, in whatever kind of activity or job assignment or whatever it is that you are involved in, the one with the plan is the one with the power. Are you listening to me? The one with the plan is the one with the power. Yes, the one with the plan is the one with the power. So if you continue to allow every day for there to be a metric or for there to be a discipline that you're going to really think strong, others will listen and they'll want to follow you. You want to make sure that you have that influence where people will want to follow you. One of my favorite movies on any given Sunday, Yard by Yard, Life is Hard, but inch by inch is very easy. Okay. Some of us right now, we need to learn how to go through the inches before we just automatically look for a yard. I'd rather you take 1 inch to go to a foot and let your foots begin to equal the yard instead of trying to jump out and be a yard before you even got a chance to be a milliliter or a centimeter. Are you following me? To become better in your thinking, you have to be able to formulate and implement certain things that you're trying to achieve for a desired objective. I'm going to spend some time with you guys today, tomorrow. Well, I'll say tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow, and then I'll come back to you on Thursday, and I'll end it on Friday. I really want to deal with trying to give you all some things to help your heart and to help you grow into this particular area. Here's number one. You need to, and I'm saying this to you because I've learned this through the years. I'm still learning how to become a better disciplinarian when it comes to this. A lot of times we try to deal with things big, and if you're not careful, it will overwhelm you. I was sharing with our staff on yesterday and our students, amen, that there's about 15, 16 hours worth of content out already for seminary school that some of you all would say that you're in over your head on. And what I said to them is that, hear me, and this is why I'm giving it to you, you need to break down the issues into smaller and manageable parts so you can focus on each one of them more effectively. You have to know how to categorize, prioritize, whatever word you want to use, so you to understand that, hear me, dealing with the whole thing is not good. You got to sometimes break it into smaller pieces. Everything is not meant to deal with in a holistic place. You got to learn how to sometimes break it into the smaller pieces, compact it into the proper perspective, and then be able to deal with them one at a time. Whether it's by function, whether it's by timetable, whether it's by responsibility, whether it's by purpose, whether it's by some method, whether it's not important to big important, you just need to make sure that you follow that process or what kind of outline I'm giving you. All right, you really want to make sure, and depending on how you rock, depending on how you really flow, you should look at that. You should look at timetable, responsibility, function, its purpose, with those type of methods to know how to deal with certain things. Sometimes you can't deal with the whole thing. You gotta make sure that you're breaking it down. When you break it down, it will get you to the place that you need to be. Hear me. Nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into the smaller pieces. All right. It's only when you look at the whole conglomerate that you'll be in over your head. You'll feel overwhelmed. You will feel as if, hey man, this is too much for me. I'm tired. I can't handle that. And that's because you've allowed yourself to become overwhelmed with some things that you knew that you should have dealt with in the smaller common denominator. Okay, so number one, you should break down the issues into smaller, manageable parts. Number two, here's what you should do: ask why before how. You should ask why before how. When I meditated on this morning, instead of asking how to solve the problem or the plan or the way to meet the objective, sometimes you should first ask yourself why. And hear me, this is deductive thinking, this is reasonable thinking, this is constructive thinking, this is thinking on the other side of the comma. I'm telling you, as you all are listening to me right now, a lot of times when you all jump right into problem solving mode, hear me, how are you going to actually know all of the issues? So sometimes you got to ask yourself why. It helps you to think about the reasons for your decisions. Okay, asking why helps you to think about all the reasons for the decisions, and let alone that, it helps you to have an open mind to the possibilities and the opportunities. In any problem that I have, or any time I got to deal with problem solving, which is on a regular basis, a lot of the times, I come to find that the size of the opportunity often determines the level of resources that I need to get. If it's not that, I need to make sure that the effort that I must invest in, I have to see the size of the opportunity. A lot of us right now are investing in things that is not ordained for our lives. A lot of us are wasting our time into sowing into into ground that is not fertile. And most importantly, we are not getting harvests, but we're raising up dandelions. You have to look at the size of the opportunity to often really determine the level of effort that you must invest into that situation. Big opportunities. This is what I was taught from Bishop Jones. Big opportunities allow big decisions. Okay, big opportunities allow for big decisions. But hear me. This is what I want to say to that, to add to that, is that if you jump to how quickly, you might miss it. So sometimes we always dealing with the how, but we never deal with the why. And I'm telling you, you got to learn how to deal with that why. You got to learn how to deal with that why. So I'm going back to what I said yesterday. Strategy is first trying to understand where you sit. Okay. Not where you wish you were or how you hope to have gotten there, but really where you are. Then it's really a matter of trying to understand where you want to be 5 years out, 7 years out, 10 years out. And you will be amazed at how your life could be if you think down the road. I said yesterday, and I'll say this to you again, just because the situation does not look the way you want it to look right now does not mean that God did not ordain for that place to happen. Okay, let me give you a biblical reference real quick. Do you remember Joseph? Joseph in Genesis 37 saw himself in a higher place. He saw the stars and the sun and the moon bow down to him. He saw all that good stuff. He never thought that his brothers would kill him. He never thought he would have got sold to the Ishmaelites. He never thought Potter would have bought him from the Ishmaelites. He never thought that Potiphar's wife would try to rape him and lie on him. He never thought that he would be back in jail. He never thought he would meet a baker and a butler who would introduce him to the president, for him to go through all of that to get to this being second in charge in the White House. You follow what I'm saying? He never thought of it that way, but he had to go through a process to get to where it is that he had to be. Some of us right now have to go through the process. So a lot of us, we love the end result, but do you ever want to go through the process? And making sure that you understand strategy, you have to think down the road. I'm always thinking down the road. I'm never comfortable where I am. I'm always scratching my head trying to find, is there a new theory, a new serum? Is there a new place I'm supposed to be? Is there something new I'm supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to do it? Where am I supposed to do it? When am I supposed to do it? Why am I doing it? And how am I going to do it? I think of that on a regular basis. So a lot of times when I say that to you, or I come to you in a place of a strategy, or come to you in a place where you need to understand where you're trying to be, hear me, is really what I'm trying to say is that you must assess the realistic chances from getting from here to there. You must do that. You have to think of where you're trying to get. So you have to process. So a lot of us like product, but we don't like process. So it's just like I tell the people in our church, you're pretty, but you have no muscles. You're saying you have a head, but you don't have a mind or a brain. You want to make sure that you're understanding in strategy why you do what you do and how you got to get to that particular place. So actually, to release the power a lot of time of your thinking skills, you got to have really a formulated pattern to implement what it is that your heart's desires are. So this is what Robbie do, and I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I can say this to you. One of the things that I always do is I attempt to identify the issues and the objectives. I always do that. I'm always trying to do that because a lot of people try to rush to solutions and they end up solving wrong problems. Did y'all hear what I just said? So you got to avoid asking probing questions to expose the real issue. Yeah, are y'all hearing me? So that's what a lot of people do. But if you begin by asking what else could be the real issue and start looking at all areas, that's why you cannot be an island. You must be an instrument. You must realize that you have to have other people with you that have a mind to think, a mind to really want to work, a mind to think outside of the box and not think inside the square. You must then become to say, what else can really be my real issues? So this is what I do, and I pray that you catch this naturally as well as spiritually. Challenge your assumptions. Challenge your assumptions. I'm always trying to gather information. I'm always trying to think of identified problems or issues. And here's where maturity comes in. Do not always jump to conclusions before you gather the necessary information to really identify the real issue. Sometimes what you think is the real issue is nothing but the top of the crust. Sometimes you got to dig all the way down into the crevices of it. See, I remember when we would clean house. I don't know if y'all know nothing about cleaning house, but when you used to clean house, you don't clean on surface level. You got to clean in the crevices of those corners. It's good to make a bed up just by throwing the blanket on top, but if I pull it back, what I find the fitted sheet in order, what I find the actual bed sheet in the proper place, what I see the corners of the bed in the hospital corners. Y'all ain't talking to me. So just because you do something right doesn't mean that you did it correctly. You follow me? So you want to make sure that you're gathering your information before you even come